Beneath the hot winds of the Sind Desert, where silence weighs heavy on broken bricks, lie the ruins of a world almost erased from memory. Mohenjo-Daro Harappa, two names whispered like ghosts of a civilization that thrived 5,000 years ago, and then disappeared. Imagine walking through their streets. Wide, perfectly aligned, more advanced than many modern cities. Imagine the Great Bath, filled with sacred water, shimmering under the ancient sun. Imagine the thousands of seals carved with strange animals and symbols, a language that no living human can read. Yet, despite all this brilliance, the Indus Valley has no Homer to sing its tales, no pyramids pointing to the heavens, no Rosetta Stone to unlock its words. It is a civilization that speaks to us in silence. And perhaps, in that silence lies its greatest mystery. Tonight, under the same stars that once shone on Harappa's rooftops, we will journey back. We'll ask the questions they left unanswered. Who were these people? What did they believe about the cosmos? Did they look up at the night sky and see God's spirits, or science we cannot yet understand? And why did their cities so perfect, so eternal, crumble into dust? This is not just history. This is a mystery written into the earth itself, and maybe into the stars above us. When archaeologists first uncovered the ruins of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro in the 1920s, they expected to find crude villages. Instead, they discovered something that felt almost impossible. Streets laid out in perfect grids, houses with private wells and bathrooms, a drainage system so advanced, some modern cities still struggle to match it. This was not chaos. This was order. A city designed as if its builders followed a blueprint written in the stars. Some historians believe the layout was no accident. The north-south and east-west alignments suggest that the Indus people might have been guided by celestial movements. Building their cities as reflections of cosmic balance, imagine entire streets aligned with constellations, as though their architects believed harmony on earth must mirror harmony in the heavens. The cities pulsed with life, bustling marketplaces, granaries larger than modern warehouses, workshops where jewelers shaped carnelian beads that still glow with fire today. Yet what's missing is just as haunting. No palaces, no massive statues, no monuments screaming of kings or tyrants. Unlike the Egyptians who built pyramids to honor pharaohs, or the Mesopotamians who raised ziggurats to reach the gods, the Indus cities whisper something different. It's almost as if the people themselves, not rulers, were at the center of this cosmic order. And so, the question lingers. Were these cities built merely to live in? Or were they temples themselves, sanctuaries designed under the eternal sky? At the heart of Mohenjo-Daro lies one of the most puzzling structures of the ancient world. A massive rectangular pool lined with bricks, carefully sealed to hold water. Archaeologists call it the Great Bath. But here's the riddle. It wasn't for swimming, nor for storing water. This was something sacred. Imagine standing on its stone steps thousands of years ago. The sun rises, casting golden light across the pool. The water ripples, reflecting the sky above. For the Indus people, stepping into this pool may have been more than bathing. It may have been a journey into the cosmos itself. Some scholars believe this was a site of ritual purification, a place where people cleansed not just their bodies, but their spirits. Others suggest it was linked to fertility rites, rebirth ceremonies, or even cosmic renewal. The very act of immersion could have symbolized dying to the old self and emerging into harmony with the universe. And here's where it becomes even stranger. The design of the bath, its symmetry, its exact proportions, suggests knowledge of sacred geometry. Was this just coincidence? Or were the Indus people mapping cosmic principles into brick and stone? Think about it. Water has always been seen as a bridge between worlds. In Vedic texts that came later, rivers were worshipped as goddesses. In Mesopotamia, water was the source of creation. Could the Great Bath be the Indus Valley's version of this timeless belief? A portal where the human touched the divine? The bath still lies there today, silent, empty, waiting. It doesn't tell us what it was for. It only reflects the sky above, as if guarding its secret. Beneath the dusty ruins of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, archaeologists uncovered small, square objects, no larger than the palm of a hand. These were not ornaments, nor tools, but something stranger. The seals of the Indus, carved with animals unicorn-like bulls. Elephants, tigers, and mythical beasts. Each seal carried an inscription in a script that no one alive can read. To this day, the Indus script remains undeciphered. It is the eternal whisper of a civilization that refused to leave us clear answers. Imagine the merchants of Harappa pressing these seals into clay, stamping goods that traveled along rivers and deserts. Some believe the seals were purely for trade, but others whisper a different story, that these symbols carried a cosmic code, a language of the stars, of gods, and of the unseen. Why does the unicorn, a creature never proven to exist, appear so often? Was it a symbol of power, purity, or perhaps a guardian spirit? Did it represent a constellation, a star unknown to us? Some researchers argue the script is not just language but astrological notation, a way of recording the movement of planets and heavenly bodies. The seals may have been cosmic passports, linking earthly trade with divine approval. Picture a Harappan priest astronomer, carving lines and loops into a seal by the flicker of oil lamps. Each mark deliberate, each animal chosen with sacred intent. Were they encoding prayers or mapping the heavens onto stone? The silence of these symbols is deafening. Thousands of seals have been found, yet no Rosetta Stone has appeared to unlock them. Scholars debate endlessly. Were they Proto-Dravidian words, symbols of power, or something beyond language altogether? Some even dare to believe that the Indus people didn't lose their script, they chose to keep it hidden. That their true knowledge was meant only for initiates, passed down in rituals, never written in a way outsiders could steal. And so, every seal is a doorway, and every symbol is a key we cannot yet turn. The silent language of the Indus still guards its secrets like a jealous god. Perhaps, just perhaps, the answers are written not on stone, but in the stars they watched so carefully. Walk through the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro, and you feel an eerie precision in its silence. Streets cut at perfect right angles, drainage systems more advanced than many modern towns, and bricks that followed a strict mathematical ratio. 1 to 2 to 4. It was as if the city itself was a reflection of some cosmic design. The Indus people did not build haphazardly. Their cities breathed geometry. Their homes aligned along the grid like stars, fixed in the heavens. Every brick, every wall, seemed to whisper, "We knew the order of the universe, and we carved it into the earth." But was it merely practicality, or something deeper? Some scholars argue that the Indus used sacred geometry. Their weights and measures standardized across hundreds of miles hint at a civilization obsessed with harmony. Imagine traders weighing gold or grain, their scales perfectly balanced, mirroring a belief that the universe itself must be kept in balance. The Great Bath at Mohenjo-Daro sits at the heart of this design, like the cosmic axis, the navel of the city. Was it only for ritual bathing, or was it a symbolic rebirth, connecting Earth with the cycles of water, moon, and stars? Even the drainage systems, advanced beyond their age, may have carried more than waste. Some historians believe they symbolized purification channels, as if cleansing the city in harmony with cosmic rhythms. Then there is the question of orientation. Why were the cities aligned in such specific patterns? Some suggest they were constructed with astronomical precision, their streets reflecting the cardinal directions, perhaps even mapping constellations across the land. Was Mohenjo-Daro a city? Or a cosmic diagram etched into the desert? And here lies the deeper mystery. Unlike other civilizations, the Indus left behind no grand temples, no colossal statues, no pyramids piercing the sky. Their monuments were not for the gods, they were the cities themselves. Living, breathing temples of order. If true, then Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were not just settlements. They were manifestations of cosmic law. The very act of walking their streets may have been a ritual, an alignment of human life with the eternal blueprint of the stars. The Indus people seemed to understand. To live in harmony with the cosmos, one must build like the cosmos, precise, balanced, eternal. To the Indus people, rivers were not just water, they were veins of the cosmos. The mighty Indus and the now vanished Saraswati carved the land like celestial serpents, flowing as if guided by the stars themselves. Civilizations rise where rivers breathe life, but for the Indus, rivers were more than survival. They were sacred pathways binding earth to sky. When the waters swelled, it was as if the heavens were pouring blessings. When they dried, it was seen as a cosmic omen. The Saraswati, often spoken of in Vedic texts as the river of knowledge, once flowed alongside the Indus. Mighty and luminous, some believe it mirrored the Milky Way, a celestial twin above the earth. Could it be that the Indus people saw rivers not only as earthly lifelines, but as reflections of heavenly rivers flowing eternally across the sky? Look deeper, and you'll find hints that the Indus measured celestial rhythms through the cycles of water. Floods and droughts were not accidents, they were messages. A lunar eclipse, a solar flare, or the shifting monsoon might have been read as signs from the gods, urging the people to realign themselves with the balance of nature. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of rituals by the riverbanks' offerings, fire altars, and perhaps even chants whispered into the flowing current. Water was life, but also purification, rebirth, and cosmic connection. In many ancient traditions, rivers were seen as bridges to the afterlife, portals between worlds. Did the Indus people believe that when one died, their soul traveled the river, carried into the night sky to join the constellations? Consider this. Their seals often depict flowing lines, wave-like etchings, and animals tied to waterfish. Crocodiles, bulls, were these more than trade symbols? Could they be cosmic codes, reminders of a belief that life flowed in cycles as endless as rivers and stars? And then came the silence. The Saraswati began to dry, swallowed by shifting tectonic plates and changing climate. The Indus shifted its course. Cities that once flourished by their waters began to crumble. Some say this was no mere environmental change, it was a cosmic judgment. For a people who built their world on balance, the rivers turning away may have felt like the universe itself had turned its back, and so the sacred waters that had given them life became part of their disappearance. The Indus Valley Civilization. Once a world of shining cities, cosmic rivers, and mysterious symbols, vanished as though swallowed by the very silence it once tried to read in the stars. But how could a people so advanced, so carefully balanced with nature, simply disappear? The ruins whisper possibilities. Some say the end came with the skies themselves. The monsoons, once steady and life-giving, began to shift. The rains grew weaker, then vanished in long droughts. The Saraswati River, lifeline of half their world, dried into desert. Was this just climate change? Or did the Indus people see it as a cosmic withdrawal of favor, the gods turning their eyes away? Others speak of invasion. Aryan tribes, storming from the north, bringing new rituals, languages, and gods. Did they clash with the Indus? Or did they simply walk into already crumbling cities, abandoned by their own people? The truth is hidden in shadows. Archaeologists find no great battlefields, no cities burned. Instead, only emptiness, as if the people slipped away. Then there are darker theories, whispers of a cosmic catastrophe. Ancient legends in South Asia tell of fire from the skies, of thunder that cracked the earth, of stars falling like arrows. Could the Indus have witnessed a comet, a meteor strike, or a massive solar flare that changed the world overnight? And what of disease? Some believe a silent plague swept through the dense cities, leaving streets deserted. Mohenjo-Daro, the Mound of the Dead, is said to hold skeletons lying in positions of sudden death, as if life ended abruptly. Were they victims of famine, pestilence, or something stranger? But here's the greatest mystery. There is no single answer. The civilization did not end in one great explosion of ruin. It faded, slowly, mysteriously. Cities were emptied, one by one. People drifted eastward, blending into new cultures, carrying fragments of their cosmic wisdom into Vedic India, into Persia, into the myths that survive today. It is almost as if the Indus people dissolved into the very universe they worshipped, vanishing not in defeat, but in transformation. Perhaps they were never truly lost. Perhaps their symbols, their river worship, their sense of cosmic order still run in the veins of humanity today. The Indus did not die. It became silence. It became the unanswered riddle. And sometimes, silence is the loudest message of all. The Indus Valley did not exist in isolation. Though their script remains unreadable, their echoes cross the deserts, rivers, and mountains of the ancient world, connecting them with civilizations thousands of miles away. Imagine standing at the docks of Lothal, one of their great ports. Ships sail out, their sails catching the wind, carrying goods of copper, beads, ivory, and the famous Indus cotton. Where did they go? To Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. Clay tablets from Mesopotamia speak of a faraway land called Meluha, a land many scholars believe was none other than the Indus. Mesopotamia gazed at the stars with their ziggurats, believing in gods who ruled the skies. Egypt aligned pyramids with Orion's belt, binding their dead pharaohs to eternity. The Indus too sought cosmic harmony, but in their own quiet way, not in towering monuments, but in perfect city grids, in sacred rivers, in salient seals that spoke of animals and stars. And then there was India's own next chapter, the Vedic age. As the Indus people vanished into history, their symbols and rituals seemed to bleed into the hymns of the Vedas. Rivers remained sacred, fire rituals continued. The cosmos became a stage of gods and humans. Was Vedic culture born from outside invaders, or was it a transformation of the Indus soul into something new? This remains the greatest debate. Across the world, civilizations shared one common obsession: the heavens. Mesopotamians watched the stars as omens of kingship. Egyptians tied the Nile to Sirius, the dog star which foretold the floods. The Indus, though voiceless to us, left behind images of bulls, serpents, and cosmic animals, symbols that may have been part of their astrology, their hidden code of fate. What's more, each of these civilizations believed they were living under the gaze of the eternal, whether called Anu, Ra, or Tengri. The Indus called it by no name we can read, but their silent cities aligned so precisely suggest they too sought to live in cosmic rhythm. It is almost as if the ancient world, Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus, and beyond, were not separate at all, but different instruments in a single cosmic orchestra. Each played their melody of gods, stars, and destiny. And when we listen carefully, the Indus is not silent. Its voice is woven into the great harmony of civilizations, a whisper that connects east and west, past and present. The Indus Valley civilization may have disappeared, but its shadows linger everywhere, woven into the cultures, beliefs, and rhythms of South Asia. The stones may have crumbled. The script may be silent, yet the soul of the Indus whispers on. Look at the villages along the Indus River today. Children play in narrow lanes, women draw water from wells, farmers till the soil. These scenes are not far removed from life 5,000 years ago. The grid-planned cities of Mohenjo-Daro may be ruins, but the layout of many South Asian towns still echoes that sense of order. Lanes crossing neatly, markets aligned with care, life revolving around water and community. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro may have been lost in time, yet the tradition of sacred bathing in rivers continues to this day. Millions gather on the banks of the Ganges or the Indus during festivals, seeking purity in the waters, rituals that may be distant echoes of the very same cosmic cleansing once practiced in Harappa. Even their symbols survive. The bull seal, proud and silent, finds its reflection in the sacred reverence for cows in Hinduism. The serpent motifs echo in the Naga deities of later traditions. The horned figure found on Indus seals, possibly a proto-Shiva, seems to have evolved into one of the most powerful deities of the Hindu pantheon. Coincidence or continuity hidden beneath layers of time? And yet their influence goes beyond religion. The Indus were the first to cultivate cotton, spinning white threads into cloth. Today, South Asia remains the beating heart of the world's textile industry. From Mohenjo-Daro's looms to modern fashion capitals, the thread of the Indus has never snapped. Even their silence has shaped us. The undeciphered script is a constant reminder of how much mystery still exists in the world. In an age when satellites map every corner of the earth, the Indus reminds us that some truths remain beyond reach. Guarding their secrets under layers of mud and time, their disappearance, too, is a warning. Civilizations, no matter how advanced, are fragile against nature, climate, and change. The drying rivers that may have ended the Indus people whisper a prophecy for us today, that the earth is alive, and if we do not listen, we too may vanish into silence. But perhaps the greatest echo of all is this: the Indus lived under the same stars we see tonight. They raised their eyes to Orion, to the Pleiades, to the moon's silver glow, just as we do. Their prayers, their fears, their cosmic wonder are still ours. In that sense, they never disappeared. They live on in every heartbeat that looks up at the night sky and wonders, what lies beyond? The ruins of Mohenjo-Daro sleep beneath the desert sun. Silent streets, broken walls, and the faint outlines of lives once lived remain, like the last breaths of a forgotten song. The Indus people are gone, yet their absence is louder than any presence. When night falls over the ruins, the same stars rise. The same constellations that watched over them 5,000 years ago. Orion still marches across the heavens. The Pleiades still shimmer like a cluster of jewels, and the moon still drifts across the black ocean of the sky. In those celestial lights the Indus whispers endure. Perhaps their script was never meant to be read, but to remind us that mystery itself is sacred. Perhaps their cities were not abandoned, but returned to the earth, waiting for the day when we would learn to listen again. And perhaps their silence is not an ending, but an invitation or riddle left for us, to awaken wonder in the age of certainty. The Indus Valley civilization may have crumbled into dust, but dust itself is eternal. The same dust now lies in the soil of South Asia, in the rivers that still flow, and in the stars that still burn. Their story is not lost, it is scattered, like starlight waiting for us to gather it piece by piece. And so, when we gaze at the heavens tonight, let us remember, somewhere in that vastness, the Indus still lives. Not in ruins, not in words, but in the eternal stars they left behind. The Indus Valley civilization may be gone, but their silence still speaks through the stars. If you enjoyed this journey into the forgotten world, leave your thoughts below. What do you think happened to them? Don't forget to subscribe to Other Dimension for more mysteries, myths, and stories from beyond time.